Hi, welcome to Watcher DM. I'm Gabriel, and today I'm going to do a flip through and review of Flik Silverpen's Guide to Dragontown and the Darkness Below, inscribed by J.P. Couvert. Uh, I first of all, I got this as part of the Kickstarter, so I have a whole box here. And maybe I will go through the box at some point. But the book is really pretty substantial, weighing in at like 208-ish pages. So I think we're just going to focus on doing the flip through and review today. And maybe I'll do a second video over my Patreon just of the bits and bobs from the Dragontown Kickstarter box, just to talk through some of the offerings that are in this really fun box set. I also should say that I played Flik Silverpen's before the Kickstarter came out. So Dragontown was, I think my friend was maybe playtesting it for JP, or, while JP was playtesting it, my friend Tess had it, and she ran it for myself and a number of other players. And so I have the player experience of this adventure. I have not myself run this adventure, or I should say campaign. It is a full campaign. And when we played it, it was a full campaign. Like, we played for many, many months out of this content. I believe at the time, the actual Dragontown and Darkness Below and the little adventures that are kind of stitched together to make this content are also J.P. Couvert's zines that he has available on his Patreon. I'll put a link to that in the description below if you want to go support J.P. Couvert. He obviously doesn't need my help promoting his work. It's well known, I think, not only that his work is fantastic, but he's a super nice guy. So, go say hey, either way. And I guess this is my official shout out to JP. Dude, thanks for making a great book. This is super fun. I had a great time with your content. It caused me to go and back the Kickstarter, because I kind of knew what I was getting. So I guess if you like these videos, hit the like button. If you want to see more of them, subscribe. If you want to be notified, hit the bell icon. If you want to get early access to these videos, you can go to patreon.com/watcherdm and sign up. Any paid tier, get your early access, whatever. And then the other thing I should mention is this is a full flip through review. So this is for GMs. There will be spoilers. I'm literally just going to flip through the whole book, and you're going to see every page. And I'm going to talk about the bits that I remember and the bits that I know and what my experience was with them. So that's what this video is going to be. If you're a player or you don't want to be spoiled, get out of here. All right. First, let's talk about these wonderful end papers. They're gorgeous, darling. They're gorgeous. They are mirrored, so they're the same content on both sides, which is fine. Maybe could have done something like with, you using the space a little differently, where like you maybe have the map on one side and a different map on another, or whatever. But given the quality of the art, I think this is perfectly fine. It's fun to look at regardless, and you always know what Dragontown is going to be like at either end of the book. So that's great. Some of the fun little bits here. Grandpap's Farm, I remember. Fizzleflock Apiary, I remember. The Ashwell Smithy, I don't think we went that way. I don't think we ended up stopping there, I mean. Sweet Seed Cidery has a fun little adventure bit in it that I remember hitting. Also, I want to say Under the Well, there's a thing. Maybe, I don't know if I remember it correctly. Malamere Castle is, of course, a very important place. That's where the titular dragon of Dragontown lives. Malamere Cemetery is here, and I remember delving that. There's a crypt there, I believe. The Empty Mug Tavern, of course, we always spent our time there. I think there's a orcish bartender tavern keep there that was had me in stitches a number of times. A very fun character. Quinn's Sundries Market, I remember we purchased some stuff there occasionally, and then the Valorum Temple. So lots of really fun little locations, well rendered, and super exciting. The one of the keys to this place is that there is apples, magical apples, and I think we'll get right into that. It does start with a nice little comic from J.P. Couvert, kind of articulating the world and what's going on here. There is a darkness that is spreading from, some mountain, basically. 12 centuries ago, a great dark evil rose from the depths below Shadespeare Mountains. The darkness grew, devouring magic and extinguishing every light as it spread in all directions. To the north, it cast the Ravenwood in shadow. To the east, it raised the Troll Bog. To the west, it drained the Sage Lakes. And to the south, it stilled the Wind Song. The darkness spread all across the land, and when all hope seemed lost, a group of unlikely heroes joined together and entered the gloom. Lugus Faravald, a wizened and powerful wizard, using cunning sorcery. Lady Baronur, Widowbren, the resplendent princess of the Ravenwood, who always strikes true. Evelyn Noctua, a wise and compassionate cleric of Valora, filled with celestial guidance. Ogden Ursus, a noble knight from the Omphalos, wielding a magical sword. Omphalos. Okay. Libby Quickstep, a clever and carefree thief, and her powerful stolen artifact. So, yeah. They go through and do some stuff. They save the day. That's the business. The apples here take on... This kind of is telling you about the apples, the magic apples. Yeah, they fought valiantly, driving the darkness back, sealing it away deep underground, saving the world and solidifying their names in the annals of history. I remember that rock. And yeah, this guy, Faravald, remained deep underground, promising to maintain his sealing spell and keep the darkness trapped for all eternity. Yeah, I remember this. We found this stuff out over time, so what was really cool about this was like, all of this kind of setup here, you don't want to share this with the players, I don't think. You probably just want to go ahead and let them discover this stuff on the way through. It's really fun. Eventually, the ancient dragon, golden dragon, Xanthoriel, which I think, I remember that being pronounced like Xanthorel or something, came to the valley, making the ruined castle his new home. And he came to chill in the valley and make the place cool, and he did that. You get your chapter breakout here. There are 12 chapters in the book. Yep. So Dragontown obviously is the main place where you're going to start, which is actually kind of out here, chapters 1 and 2, above ground. You got Malamir Castle, which is also here. And then you've got the Widow Song Woods, which is chapter 3. That's to the south. We actually went there to get a sword, if I remember correctly, or ended up getting a sword. The Shadespeare Mountains are to the north. So I guess that's south, that's north. The Plum Wax Kobolds is chapter 5. Now, I vaguely remember dealing with them. Or we might have done something else at this point. I'm not quite sure. Because I remember this pyramid structure and ending up in the City of Eternal Night. So chapter 6, City of Eternal Night. Bat people. Love bat people. The Red Growth and Underground Fungal City. I very much remember that. That was terrifying. The Fiery Caldera. Oh, the Emperor of Worms. I remember him. Yeah, so it was, Emperor of Worms to the Red Growth. And then down to the Fiery Caldera, which is a huge lava domain. It was awesome. The Errant Tower was something we hit on the way to the darkness below. And ultimately, I don't think we ever got to the Sky Garden. So this content is something I did not have any direct interaction with. You got a section here about how to use this guide. So it's got some adventure hook. Let's see. If you're using one of the locations in standalone adventures, so I think each section maybe has its own adventure hooks. Yeah. So each chapter is going to have its own adventure hooks, which is really fun because it kind of lets you like staple in these chapters into your own campaign, which is really neat. It talks a little bit about dice. And then talks about your game. So this is intended to be a system-neutral adventure, which is a challenging thing to pull off. I cannot speak to how well this was pulled off because, again, I have not run this. When we were playing it, we were using Blueholm, which is a kind of riff on Holmes Basic. And so yeah, I don't know what Tess did to kind of accommodate this setup here, but basically it uses dots to establish kind of a level of whatever, and then you apply that to whatever system you're using. So I could see this ogre basically pretty quickly falling, being scaffolded out into a Cairn stat block or a Shadow Dark stat block without much effort. Also, probably could just use the ogre stat block from Shadow Dark or Cairn. Wouldn't be that much of a pain. Also, as I understand it, JP Couvert and Michael Putlack of Night Noon Games are working on a Shadow Dark kind of conversion guide for this whole adventure. I think that's in progress. Yeah, it gives you a little guidance on healing and damage and item pricing using, again, this kind of 4 diamond rating scale of expense. So you can handle using, silver standard or copper standard or whatever your system supports. You get into the Malumir Valley. You got your random encounters. You can roll a d10 to get a random encounter. And yeah, it just kind of sets up the whole place. The Windsong Woods are down here. You've got a few farmsteads. I think in our case, we started off with we were coming to take over. It was claim a dead relative's farmstead or something, and that kind of kicked off the whole campaign. Adventuring in Dragontown starts you off with your adventure hooks. Adventure awaits, kind of a little box text there. Some friendly faces, so it gives you some nice little NPC pointers and where to find them in the book, which is super handy. And then common knowledge around town, which I like the way that this is presented. It's not really that there's rumors. It's no, everybody knows this. They'll talk about it freely like it's just known, and that's pretty cool. The magic apples. So the apples here are magical. Eating them has special effects. And so it can be really fun, honestly, just to play around with the magic apples and take them and eat them or drink the cider made of them and have the different magical effects do things. It's a really clever implementation of a kind of, it's not a mundane magic item. Some of them are pretty wild, like water will not touch you. You decrease in size, you increase in size. Everyone in the vicinity can sense your feelings. Just some really weird effects that I think are really, really great. And I think the only thing, is it kind of, it's it says, if just a single bite, you get the effect for only a few moments. Eating an entire apple will affect for 10 to 60 minutes. So I guess, that would be 1d6 times 10 minutes, and that kind of applies to all of them, which that's fair. That's fine. Apple farms. So these are the different apple farms and kind of who owns or runs them. And a short description of who that person is. And then you've got the Sundry Market, Quinn's Sundries Market. And, of course, the NPC, Quinn's Sundries, what's for sale, 0 apples. With, again, that little diamond pricing guide there. And some really fun illustrations of some of the objects on offer. Also, your character here has 4 arms, which is awesome. The Placid Gate stable is located in the west edge of Dragontown, so you got a stable out here. I don't know that we really interacted with the stable. I don't think we had horses. The Ashwell Smithy, I think I've also mentioned that I did not engage with the smithy during my playthrough, but I do love the art here, and I think it's a cool concept. Valorum Temple, we had to go here a number of times for healing. I think we actually went there for a failed resurrection, which is also pretty fun. And you get some quests from Carl. I remember Carl Boldbeacon was a big deal. The Tidbit Bakery, get some bakery stuff. I remember going there for breakfast muffins. And then, here's the Ugly Mug, Zora Duhar, proprietor of the Ugly Mug. This is that orc lady I was talking about. She's great. Had a lot of fun with that NPC. And then you got some nice little beacon, some other frequent patrons here. And in fact, I think we met, one of the things I liked about this was Carl Boldbeacon, we met him at the inn, but we followed him to the Valorum Temple. So, follow him to a second location in this one. It's really great. They put the PCs, or the NPCs from the rest of the town here in the Ugly Mug for you to interact with. And it can be really fun. Slimes in the streets. So at sunset, these slimes come and attack. And I think they do it basically every night. And I remember us dealing with this. I think we had a pretty clever solution to it. I think, and maybe it's the right solution. I feel like there's like, oh, let's see. A bucket of water begins to dissolve the slime. Splashing or submerging the slime with enough water dissolves it completely, leaving a puddle of sticky, wet sludge. Yeah, I think that's what we ended up doing. Is we just like hit them with water a bunch, and that was kind of the solution. Sweet Seed Cidery. I think this is where we were saving them from the slime menace. That was literally the adventure that we hit. So nice. It's nice that you have like a town with some NPCs and a little location and like what's going on here, and that's a whole adventure. You could just run that right with the NPC interactions, the threat. It's very clear. You got your reward. They can get some sweet, some sweet cider. It's pretty cool. Grandpa's farm. Yeah, the smelling goatlin. I remember these guys. I think I may have actually missed the session where they dealt with that. The alley cats are the ones I was talking about. I think they're underneath the well. Yeah, the escape route to the town well. And they kind of have like a back door in Tidbit's bakery. The bakery is like, the owner of the bakery is all nervous all the time because he's got these like cat bandits who are like holding his restaurant hostage, basically. It was really fun. Catapult dumps out to the river exit. I think if you look here, you can see there's a little pipe under the river, and that's where the cats can come out from under the bridge there. So yeah, we got through this place and chased those cat bandits out of town. The Fizzleflock apiary is get some honeys. I don't think we actually did much with this. I seem to remember hitting her up for some honey, but I don't think we ended up engaging with the quest there. The Malamir Cemetery is a place we went, and actually I think it was one of those times where like the clerics turn undead was just like, oh my god, that's so powerful and basic. It was great. Really saved the day. Yeah, this puking zombie. Man, this zombie's such a good... Love the form here. Just that whole... Everything about that illustration is fantastic. The Tunnel Tomb. The Ghost of Evelyn Noctua. Yeah, I remember these guys. Really, really fun. So that takes us through all of the adventures that can be found in Dragon Town proper. Now we go to Malamir Castle. We gotta go figure out what happened to the dragon. He's been gone. He's been sleeping. What's up? So Zenthoriel's Tower, is the mayor of Dragontown and protector of the valley, but he disappeared. And before he disappeared, the front gates would open once a week, and the townsfolk were allowed to the courtyard to meet with Zenthoriel and air their grievances. The dragon keeps his treasure hoard in the castle's main tower. He enters through the collapsed roof of the tower. So this is the map, obviously. The castle walls are covered in these vines, these like thorny vines. So you got to figure out how to get in there. I think we may have vaulted. We may have pole vaulted in. So yeah, you got to sort some stuff out. I think you can figure out... I think there's something that you can do to get past the wall. Maybe not. Maybe it's not clear here. Maybe it's just like, yeah, figure it out. Good luck. The courtyard. Yeah, so you get some leafless, withered trees. Is tapped in the center of the courtyard, slowly dripping green slime into a huge cauldron. So that's where the slimes are coming from, which is awesome. Love it when you're, like it's the spawning bucket, right? It's like, oh, where are the slimes coming from? Oh, they're coming from the the bucket in the middle of the courtyard. It's great. The storeroom, and you got your animated bramble. So there's some stuff to find here, and a big monster, the sludge behemoth. Love that art. And just this trade dress of putting all the vines around is fantastic. You've got some more locations here, as of course described in the map. Now, I think my first character in this adventure, died right about here to this guy. It just got crushed or maybe it was like we were running up and around this, I think. It was like, yeah, there was like we were trying to kite him, and it didn't work. It was great. So I rolled a second character. She was way better. And yeah, we got through here. I think ultimately there is. So yeah, Nurinar the Druid is casting a sleep spell on Xanthoriel, and he keeps casting it. I think is the thing. He's living in this place, like keeping the dragon asleep, and he has reasons. Yeah, he's like, you don't want to wake Xanthoriel, and I cannot exactly remember why. And Narinar doesn't want to fight and will actively avoid it, even shape-shifting and flying up to perch high in the tower. He will plead with the adventurers not to wake Xanthoriel. A great evil lies beneath the Malamir Valley, and it's growing stronger because of the foolish townsfolk and the voracious dragon. Right, so the dragon, something about the dragon's appetites are causing it to become worse. I think it might be his like hoard, like he's collecting magic or something. He explains here. The magic apples seem like a gift, but they come at a cost, extracting a starved horror. The dead rise, the valley's animals grow restless, and there's a strange black muck infecting Naranar's home, the Windsong Woods, a clear sign of impending doom. So yeah, he talks about the darkness below. You could start understanding that and describing it. Naranar invited the Goatlins, summoning the slimes, and putting Zelthariel to sleep was a mistake, but reasoning with the people of Dragontown didn't work. He'll leave the choice on how to proceed up to the adventurers. So it's kind of cool. You go in there and like there's this mystery, and you think you got to fight this druid, and then it turns out he's like, nah, really, I just like don't want to mess this up. So yeah, or you can side with the druid, and he knows a cave leading down beneath the Shadespeare Mountains that might contain clues of the whereabouts of the darkness below. If they've come for treasure, then Naranar will offer them as much of Xanthoriel's hoard as they can carry. He has no need of it. They must promise to never return to Malamir Valley. If they agree, he will warn them. One day, when Xanthoriel wakes, he will come looking for his stolen treasure. God, I love that. Set up a golden dragon opponent for the party. You wake up, this guy's an 80-foot-long dragon. And yeah, he values justice above all else. I like the way that they did this, actually. I think it's a whole spread of just kind of dealing with this guy and the druid. And the dragon gives a gift, so you can get a personalized magical item from his hoard. And then we get to the Windsong Woods. Windsong Woods, really, really clear, little hex flower. And it's color-coded, but it's really just 3 rings, I think, of, increasing whatever. So the Copus Clef, the Wild Weald, the Golden Grove, and then the Time-Worn Treant. It's got some adventure hooks, of course. You've got Navigating the Woods. You've got some Windsong's Harmony. Yeah, I think these are just like emotional states that you get into, which is a little weird, but it's fine. Region 1, so it kind of talks about them in regions, and so they each get their own encounter tables. And then the Wild Weald, again, a D6 table, and then the Golden Grove, you get another D6 table. You can find Narinar's Druid Circle, or the Stone Head, a Colossal Snail, Corrupted Wolves, Mire Breath Lichen. Yeah, I remember that. The Corrupted Pig, I remember that. And then, yeah, the Time-Worn Treant. So we found this, we pulled the King's Claw, and that became my character's weapon for a while. The Shadespeare Mountains were awesome. Holy smokes, this was awesome, actually. I don't know if he had... Yeah, he did. So these are like the Goro from Tears of the Kingdom, or, Breath of the Wild, the Legend of Zelda. In fact, there's a lot of Legend of Zelda coded stuff in here that was really, really fun to interact with. So that happened. And then, yeah, I don't think we ever interacted with the Shadespeare Orcs, or if we did, they weren't hostile, which was cool. They fly like griffins, though, which is pretty dope. And the Ravenwood Brigands we did end up clashing with, and I think we ended up following them back to their lair and doing some stuff. Random encounters, you got some weather. The southern entry, the old tower, narrow pass, temporary campsite. A rock shelter. I love this little skeleton. He's so good. Shade spear, a light spear made of sharp, unbreakable rock, can be wielded with one hand and thrown, cuts through stone and armor. One thing I will say, the magic items in this absolutely slap. They were really, really fun. Every single one of them was kind of exotic and interesting, and wasn't just a sword plus one, it's pretty wild. Really cool stuff. Like JP really shined the creativity and the creation of the magical items. And we had a ton of them by the end. There's a bunch of treasure in this adventure. It was really, really good. You got the Everhold Bridge, the Spur Line, the Pit. I'm not going to pronounce that because I don't know if I could. The Umbra Lake, Stone Moot, Far Falls, the Hermit Hut, entrance to the Underground. I think this is ultimately where you get down to the Plumwax Kobolds. There's a northern entrance. I seem to remember this being kind of where we went in. And yeah, there's a quaint inn at the crossroads north of the Shadespeare Mountains, which I don't think we ever made it to that. The Ravenwood Brigands hideout, I remember we dealt with this. So yeah, the Ravenwood Brigands were here. And I think we dealt with Kaelin Widowbren. The youngest prince of the Ravenwood. I remember him. And then these void spawns. These were the things, right? So they were like the manifestation of the darkness below. And what they literally did was ate a magic item. They bit at it. They hit the magic item. And it wasn't a magic item anymore. And we all lost our shit. We were terrified. We're like, no! Don't destroy our magic items. Plumwax Kobolds is chapter 5. I remember this being much more structured than what I'm seeing here, so I'm not sure if we skipped past this. Maybe what happened is I think the way that it works, if you look at the, find it here. Here it is. So if you look at how this works, yeah. I feel like the Plumwax Kobolds come in over here, and the Bandits Keep goes like over on this side here. Like that's how we played it anyway. That's how it worked out in our adventure. So maybe we did pass through there, but I was not. Yeah. So like maybe we went down the pit. Oh, the entrance to the underground and room 7. Yeah, both lead to one of the first 4 rooms. Oh yeah, so I guess we did go down here. I just don't think we ever saw the map, if I'm being honest. So yeah, the map, I don't know, whatever, it's fine. That's how I would do a map like this. That works. Not a ton of adventure hooks here, just the 3, which is fine. I think Bold Beacon maybe, and we also followed the Void Spawn, so we had a couple of these going. Plumwax Kobolds, just good old Kobolds. Nothing wrong with that. Lots of traps. A good amount of really good traps. I remember getting hit with some traps. Exploring the lair. Got some of the locations here. Pretty punchy, This is the Root Cellar. A cool, dark, well-organized room filled with the Kobold's food. See Draconic Farm and water. There are no Kobolds here. Okay. Easy. Oh, the drawings, though, man. Whew. So good. The Niff is a suffocating smoke. Keep out, do not open. I don't think we actually opened this or dealt with this at all. Excavation tunnel. Crystal Cave. I seem to remember the Crystal Cave. The Dwarven Throne Room. Yeah, I remember this. Dwarven Throne Room. Morlock's Murder. Yeah, we dealt with the Morlocks. There's a mess hall, a centipede farm. The Boom Room. Doc, maker of traps. I remember these guys too. These like blind ogres or whatever. I guess they're Morlocks. They were Morlocks. I remember dealing with those. And then Dragon's Rest. The skeleton of an immense black dragon is curled on the floor of an expansive cavern, surrounded by lit candles and iridescent crystals. Kobolds constantly come in and out of the cavern, bringing news to the lair, delivering crystals and relighting candles. Overlord Odo, the skeleton dragon. The almighty authority, conquering champion, draconic destroyer, exalted emperor, godly genius, the illustrious imperator, his masterful majesty, the one and only omnipotent overlord Odo. Man, that's a wrestling entrance if I've ever heard one. Uh, Otto Boldbeacon is down here, a dwarven trickster, who I think, yeah, he's doing some Wizard of Oz biz. And then you get down into the City of Eternal Night. Man, these bats betrayed us. I'm still butthurt about it. This was the map that I remember being the most interesting. There's like a whole thing going on here with these like statues and these little pylons that you can like use. And there's traps that'll zap you. It was crazy. Only 4 adventure hooks. More Morlocks down here. I remember that. Yeah, the flooded hall. Yeah, the floating obelisk, man. These things can only be deactivated with the Obolos bracer. I remember having that bracer. And the City of Eternal Night. This is a cool concept. So you have the Bat City over here, the Batfolk City, Chiroptera. And then you have like this temple on the other side of this bridge. And so, yeah, we hung out with them, bought some stuff. I remember the bat goggles being like really, really good. Yeah, the practical goods, the fig juice, the nat chips. There was some, let's see, extra ears maybe. I want to say there were, yeah, shadow shades. Allow wearers to see clearly in the dark. Yeah, got some of those. Penumbra Temple. I remember going through these bars here. That was super cool. Interesting, dangerous. I remember getting into some fights in this place that were pretty tough. And ultimately, Albert and Lucius Uriel, Paladins of the Light. I think we actually murked those guys. I think they ended up being bad. Giant Morlock, the Hole. Get into the Fear Hole. And a Gracious Sacrifice. I think, yeah, so here's what happens. Like, we thank you, Lightwalkers, for the assistance and repay them by sealing their fate with unending twilight and honorable sacrifice to the darkness below. And they cut the bridge, and you all fall into the Emperor of Worms. I'm not a big fan of, like, NPC betrayals, but this is, if you're going to do it, this is how you should do it. Have them sacrifice them to a giant worm in the underground. Go even deeper. And yeah, you go into a worm's guts, and you go down through this whole city, and there's like the brain. I think we had a fly buzzing around the brain, and go through the city. There's a big arena. You got to fight your way through, or like fight your way out. Go through the stomach acid. I think there's a critter that we rode on across the thing, and then you go out through the intestines. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Getting swallowed. Yeah, the mouth, the brain. Mordred, the older brother, yeah. So I think there was, yeah, Jovial Giant Fly. Man, so many good ideas in terms of the NPCs here. I remember the NPC, personifications just being really, really fun. And I can see why. Like, this is so well written. It's cool too that you put just put a town in the middle of the dungeon. Like, oh, yep, there's a town down here. It's got soup and shit. And it's not the first one. Like, the Bat people had their own town. You can go buy stuff from them, and like, just a really, really great. I say often with Austin when we're talking about stuff that like NPCs are the lifeblood of role playing games. Like, the NPCs do a lot of heavy lifting in terms of world building and stuff. And this is a perfect example of just acknowledging that and using it. I remember this spider, the queen of the crop. She has like 4 wands, right? She has 4 wands she can use. And then yeah, the crowd is here. You got some rounds of combat against some of these different champions. And then out to the gizzard, right? The telepathic slug that we met that helped us get across the gizzard. The tract is what you would expect. It's gross and smelly, but we got through. And then the Paraproct, the way out. So this is the younger brother, the other fly. He's just living by the butthole. It's pretty great. The red growth. So once you get past the worm, you end up in this huge mushroom forest, which is cool. It's designed like a hex crawl, basically. And then you kind of go in between the hexes. Like, this is a really interesting way to design a dungeon space. So bravo. I think that works really well. I seem to remember us cutting through this pretty fast. Like, we were just like, oh, this place seems really dangerous. We should just keep going. So I think as soon as we found a way down, I think we maybe went into one tower. Was this the Budding Spire? The Shadow Spire? Oh, maybe Now, I seem to remember us dealing with the Forbidden Tower thing, or the Forbidden Spire. Some dangerous encounters. Environmental encounters is a separate table. It's a really cool idea. Safe encounters, also a really cool idea. Just run into some stuff that's like, it's not dangerous, it's fine. Some wild flora, some magic items that are found around here, and then a discussion on the spires. So, yeah, you got some inside the Shadow Spires things. And inside the spires, I think there are these, like, sinkholes that can go down. And that's how you end up in the Fiery Caldera. In the Fiery Caldera, we hung out with Vorla. I remember this. It's an ancient magma tortoise. But actually, I don't think we met her straight away. We met one of her children first. Who was trying to escape. Now, yeah, so this is a cool map. So what's happening here is the Fiery Caldera, when it's overflowing, is this map. And when it's receding, it's this map. And so you can see, you can walk across 6 and 7, but the lava will rise and lock out 6, 7, and 9. I don't remember what the key was that caused that to happen, but it was pretty cool that the world just, like, changed. And, oh yeah, the map changed, by the way. You're like, oh crap. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, so you got your lava tubes. This place was really hard. It was really fun, but it was really hard. And we basically had to, like, pay for fire resistance potions, and there was all these trolls we were fighting. It was tough. We hooked up with these turtles. We freed one of the turtles from the trolls, and then got his mom's help getting out. And then the errant tower. This is the wizard's tower. This was the wizard who was supposed to, like, kind of lock the place down. Yeah, but yeah, he kind of bounced. I don't know that we actually ended up doing a ton in this tower. We might have just scooted on by to get down to the darkness below. Oh, wait a minute. I think there were some... Yeah, so we did, like I said, we did not go through the Sky Garden. I really wish we had. It's definitely going to be one of the places I run in the future. I very much look forward to running this adventure so I can try this out, because I think it's got some cool ideas in it. Some cool little locations, some more fun magic items, more really fun NPCs. Really well laid out too. Just love the clarity of design here. And then chapter 12, The Darkness Below. Yeah, I remember this. Crystal Cavern. So, yeah, you get down here and you are just dealing with craziness. It's all kinds of these guys, animated skeletons and void beasts, stalking predator, the hidden cave, the piffling town, which is really weird. These inch-tall purple humanoids. I don't think we ever met those. There's a floating ooze, Gitterish. Unconscious Ember Troll. So the Ember Trolls from back here, like from the previous section, and like I think all the different critters kind of find their way down here. There's like a bunch of things are represented from previous adventures, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, you find the darkness kind of leaking out of this thing. And I remember we dealt with it. It was intense. It was a hell of a fight. And my character stayed down there to lock it in and to keep the darkness at bay. So she's down there still today. That's one of my favorite things. Is that yeah, she sacrificed her life to just stay down there and be the hero who guards the darkness. List the inspirations here. Got the credits in the back. Some other places you can go find out more from J.P. Couvert, so it's just checking all those out. Of course, he's got his thanks out to all the different creators that are friends on the internet. And yeah, a little bit about the author there. And that is the book. Now, the construction of this book, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It's got that cloth case binding, stitch sewn, or Smith sewn. A nice ribbon. It's got this kind of crazy gloss on the cover. Like it's not embossed. Maybe it's debossed. I guess it is embossed a little bit. Lovely book. Pick it up. Dragon Town in the Darkness Below. Flik Silverpen's Guide. J.P. Couvert. Go hit it. Worth it. And thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy these videos, again, hit like and subscribe, and I'll just see you in the next one.